In this lesson, we're going to create a C-axis cross-contour toolpath on the slot. So the first thing I want to do is see what the radius in my slot is. I want Alt-T, turn off my toolpaths, and F4 to analyze. So I'm going to analyze this arc right here. Comes back at 102 radius and 200 thousandths diameter. So we need a end mill smaller than 200 thousandths. At least smaller than 200 thousandths. So I'll go ahead and go to turning and my cross contour up. So it does come up in solid chaining, which is what I want. I am going to select a loop. This will allow me to move my start arrow. So I'm going to grab this loop here, and I want to use dynamic to move the arrow. So you can see it starts to move here. I want to move it to the middle of this so I can arc in and arc out on the middle of this wall here. So for a tool, I'm going to grab the 1/8 cross end mill that's all ready to go. And we'll call it a left spindle cross contour slot for our comment. For our holder, it doesn't really matter too much for what we're doing, but I'll shorten it up just a little bit. If I want to go shorter than this, I'd have to actually edit the end mill itself. In cut parameters, I am going to do my comp in computer. You can see my compensation direction looks good. You can see how this is going to be a climb direction, just like the direction of our arrow here. For contour type, I want to use ramp here. Now I have a couple options here. I can use an angle. So we might want to do something like 2.5, or I can use a depth. And you'll notice the options change a little bit depending upon which ramp motion we use. We have a ramp depth as well for the plunge. I'm going to use the depth one here. You can try these other one on your own. So I'm going to put a ramp depth of 20 thousandths in there. I'm going to leave 0 stock on walls and floors. So for lead in, lead out, I want to use perpendicular here. We're in tight space here, so I'm only going to go 10% length. I do want a radius. We'll say 50%, and we'll sweep it at 90 degrees. So let's see what this gets us. I don't want multi-passes. That was left on from the last operation I created. For linking parameters, it does need to know how deep it is in this case, so it knows how much to ramp. So let me go ahead and right click and do distance between 2 points. I'm going to come down and grab the full depth of the slot and then the top on the OD. So I have about 41 thousandths. I'm going to round that up to 45. Give us a little extra bit of clearance there. And from here, I'm going to go ahead and create this operation. So quick look. It looks pretty good here. We might want to give it a little bit of feed to approach here. So if I go to my front view, you can see that I am above the part, maybe not much. Let's go back into parameters. And we'll go to linking parameters, and we want to put a feed plane in there of 50. And we probably also want to get the tool out a little bit better. So let's retract that 100 thousandths. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, so now we're going to wrap it to here, feed down to here, and then start to ramp in. And you can see we ramp out nicely also. We might want to put a little overlap there on that wall, and I think at this point we have a pretty good tool path. So let's do a quick back plot on this, see if we like it. So I'm pretty happy with that. Let me make sure that I didn't hit on the way out there. It's pretty close on the way out. I'll step through that. Step. Yeah. So we didn't hit that wall. We came close. We might want to change our lead out parameters a little bit, shorten those up. But we have a good tool path here. The other thing that we could do is if we came in here and made our cut parameters 2D, and in lead out, we do have an option for profile ramp. Now for ramp angle, I'm just going to throw something in here and see what we get. So you can see that's not a bad looking toolpath either. We could play with our ramp angle. We could play with this height here. It looks like it takes into account our feed plane for the ramp angle. So if I get rid of my feed plane here, let's see what this does. Yeah, so you can see that by working with the numbers, the parameters inside of MasterCam, we have a few options on how to create this slot. And the difference here is that we're following our profile on the way in versus arcing in and arcing out.